him. When David, groggy and still drugged, woke up. Realizing what was going on, he pushed Mateo off him angrily and set about leaving, still heavily drugged and furious. David stumbled about the home, trying to find his shoes. Mateo tried to assure him, to convince him that nothing had happened and everything was okay, that he had simply passed out and more, but David knew better. Despite his young appearance, he was 30. He had had his fair share of beers before and knew that one was not enough to make him pass out, much less feel the way he was feeling. As Mateo continued to try and convince him that nothing was wrong, that he was okay, and that he could just sleep it off, David continued going through the house, trying to find his shoes so he could leave. He was beyond angry at this point. This man had drugged him, tried to assault him, and instead of giving him his shoes, one of his only real possessions, he was trying to pretend like nothing had happened, that everything was fine and he should just keep going back to sleep. The more Mateo talked, the angrier David Israel got, and finally, when he found his shoes in the back of the closet, he snapped. Next to his shoes was an axe, which David decided would work just fine as a weapon. He put his shoes back on, grabbed the axe, and then, without stopping to think, he bludgeoned Mateo 3 times with the axe, before getting a shoelace and strangling him with it to ensure that he was dead. According to Murillo, as he strangled Giovandito with a shoelace, he whispered in his ear, "You've been a bad boy lately. You ran into the wrong guy this time, bro." After killing Mr. G, Murillo cleaned himself up and left the home. It would be 4 days until Mateo's body was found, when the neighbors worried about not seeing him. Neighbors were horrified at the murder. How could this happen here in Celebration, the self-sufficient community of the future? In the news coverage about the murder and the immediate dates following, the press emphasized just how tragic this event was, how this burst the bubble of perfection in Celebration, and how Mateo was a lovely retiree who dedicated his life to helping others and making the world a better place. They spoke highly of him, and what they could to make sure that the readers knew that the man who had been murdered was anything but deserving. However, as days continued on, and Murillo was found, more and more information started pouring out. Older students who had been abused started to post online about their experiences with him. Families of the students he had preyed upon made their own statements about how he had gained their trust and taken these children on vacations meant to prey on them, and so much more. Quickly the tide turned, and people realized what, or rather who this person really was, and why he died the way he did. As for David Israel, he was found guilty of the murder and sentenced to life in prison, which ended up being a topic of debate for many people. Some believed that he acted in self-defense, because Mateo had obviously drugged him and was trying to get him to stay with him, so he could continue to assault him. People felt by and large the punishment was too harsh, especially given Mateo's history of assaulting minors. Regardless, this murder forever shook Celebration, and is more or less the reason why the next death of the sinister suburb occurred. If